This is Blocks to Flow, the space where learning, living, and leading return to alignment. Hosted by Kohila Sivas. Together we reconnect, restore, and rewire the missing link. Unlearn survival, relearn rhythm.
Welcome to today's podcast. I have Coach Kim here today. Welcome, Kim. How are you?
Thanks. I'm great. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited.
Very good. So, Kim, we always start this podcast with the breathing exercise, and I'd like to ask the people who are coming in to share with me what do they do to breathe and relax and ground themselves. Do you have any exercises like that?
I absolutely do. I do. I'm not sure if there's a name for it, but the one that I found that is most helpful to ground me is to breathe in for 4, to breathe out for 6, and then to hold for 2 at the bottom.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. Why don't we do that? Can you lead us?
Absolutely. Yes. All right.
Perfect.
Ready? Breathe in for 4. Out for 6. Hold for 2. Breathe in for 4. Out for 6.
Mm-hmm.
Hold for 2. In for 4. Out for 6. Hold for 2.
Perfect.
In for, thanks.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
That always regrounds me, so.
Yes, grounding is so important and breathing is so important. I start this podcast every day, every time with the breathing exercise because I think we all forget. We can do it anywhere, anytime, whenever we want. It's given to us. The breath is the only thing that's available to us free. So we must take it, right? So thank you for being here. I do have a question for you though about blocks to flow. When you think about the phrase blocks to flow, what moment in your life comes to your mind first?
Yeah, so when I think about blocks to flow, I think about how much I was in fight or flight survival mode my last year at work. And so when I was working 60 hours a week and I have a chronically ill daughter at home and I thought I was doing fine, but I started to have some physical issues. And when I started this program, I got to know myself a little bit better and realized that I wasn't fine at all, that I was really in survival mode and I wasn't really even surviving, right? It was like I was constantly anxious and overwhelmed and really quick to anger. And so learning the blocks to flow method and seeing what my life is like now versus how it was, that's what comes to mind. It's like I'm a whole different person.
Yes. So let's go back to that period of time.
No.
What do you think was the block during that time? Why were you in that state of flight or fight mode? Why were you surviving? What was the block?
Yeah, I think the main block was my own self-talk. I was in a situation where my boss was challenging to work for and was very negative. And I had a period in my life when I was younger when I had a lot of negative self-talk, and it just started to, I started to feed off of my own negative self-talk and learning talk to your brain, and starting to do that really helped me realize that my thoughts were sometimes creating the anxiety and the overwhelm.
Yes. So let's go back to, you said you picked that up and carried it forward into your adulthood. It started when you were younger.
Yes.
So take me back. Why did that start then? What happened then?
I was a little overweight when I was a kid, and I was a little bit different. I also was like, strive to get the best grades in the class. And so I was picked on by my peers. I had had a sibling that died when I was very young. And so in the household, there was always a little bit of, just discomfort, as I was growing up. And so, I just got into a space where I thought very negatively of myself, and, the voice that was coming out, I think, was my own, because it was never my parents that were saying negative things about me, but I think it just kind of, developed through experiences I had with my peers. And so that was a tough time.
And how was it growing up with that voice?
It was difficult. I just believed everything that my thoughts told me. It never occurred to me to question my thoughts. And so, I was never good enough. I was stupid. I was fat, and I just believed all of that to be true when I was younger.
Yes. And then you carried that forward. And then when you got this boss who wasn't really that nice to you, it triggered all of that.
It triggered everything right back up. Absolutely. And I felt that I couldn't do right. No matter what I did, it was wrong. Even though I was very confident in my work and I knew that I was very good at my job and had gotten a lot of positive feedback about being good at my job, didn't matter, because that self-talk started coming back through her. And I felt like I wasn't doing the right thing. I wasn't good enough.
Yes, absolutely. It was almost like you went back to your elementary, high school.
Yeah.
With the
middle school.
With the bullies. Middle school bullies.
Yes. And absolutely, it is bullying. It was bullying behavior. Yeah. And it brought me right back to that space.
Yes. It's unfortunate that we have adults, they grow up to be that way, right?
Absolutely.
It's not that great. Yes. So now you're a Blocks to Flow coach.
I am.
Before you becoming who you are today, what was the life like on the other side of flow?
So when I didn't have flow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my life was really fragmented, and I had difficulty. I just had difficulty, period. Like, I had trouble at work, being able to sustain attention and focus to tasks. I was constantly in that emotional space. I was dysregulated. I would fly off the handle at work. I, made one of my secretaries cry. It was not good. And then at home, kind of the same thing. I had a lot going on at home, and, I would get frustrated when my daughter wouldn't do chores around the house, but she's chronically ill. And there were days when all she could do was get downstairs and to the couch. So, it was just very fragmented, and I had a lot to do, but then I would just kind of throw my hands up and do nothing. And I would get stuck in procrastination because I just was overwhelmed.
Absolutely. You had lot was going on then.
Yes.
So tell me about flow. How are you in flow right now? You're in flow?
I am absolutely in flow. I have a couple of routines that I do to try to keep me there. I have since retired from my position, and so that stressor has been removed. And so, I have a routine that I do when I get up in the morning. I have a routine when I sit down at my desk. And I find that I can easily be in flow and be productive for 3.5, 4 hours at a time, where I've not historically had any ability to sustain attention to tasks like that. And so everything just seems easy. My daughter is in treatment again, and we're taking that very well. Like, we are just, going with the flow, so to speak, right? But being able to provide her with her needs and make sure she's taken care of, and make sure that she takes care of herself on the days that she's really struggling. So it seems like a good balance of, working for myself in terms of my business and my coaching, and being able to take care of her and the house. It just seems to all work well. It's like it clicks.
Yes. That's what flow feels like.
Yes.
It flows.
It just flows. Right. It just flows. And it's kind of crazy because I've spent the vast majority of my adult life not in flow. And I didn't know what I didn't know.
Exactly. So when was your turning point that you decided that survival isn't what you want, and you want rhythm back in your life and this flow into your life? What was the turning point?
Yeah, the turning point actually started when I began the coaching program here for Holistic Success Codes. And actually some coaching from you. One of the things that was a turning point for my ability to leave work at work was a ritual that you had suggested, where at the end of my day, I go into the bathroom, I wash my hands and wash away work. And then when I leave work, it stays. And that was one of the turning points for being able to come home in a healthier mindset. so that I wasn't bringing home the frustration and the anger and all of that. So that was one of the key moments for sure. And then as I retired and that, the big stressor of work was removed, I realized that I still wasn't in flow and, recognized that I had to find my, some grounding exercises and some rituals and some structure to my day. And now it seems to flow really well.
Yes. And that's our society trading us to think that, you work, you retire, and you'll have a happy life. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that.
It didn't happen like that.
It didn't show up to you, did it?
No, as much as I was grateful to be in a space where I could retire, I was used to, for 35 years, being told what to do, when to do it, and deadlines. And all of a sudden, here I am in retirement, and I'm like, it was like I had to relearn. I had to unlearn that routine of expecting somebody else to be telling me how to run my days and what to do and when to do it. And I had to learn for myself what works for me as the boss.
And that's a struggle for many people. There you can get lost too, right?
Yeah.
There you can get lost at the end of your retirement, working all this way hard to gain it, but then you don't know how to live because you never lived.
Yes. There's a woman in my neighborhood that, we take on walks with us when we walk the dogs, and she's just so lost. And, she's very negative and her life is terrible. And, it's because she doesn't have a routine and structure in her day. And then she's left with her thoughts, and her thoughts are negative.
Yes, I just heard about someone dying last week due to having so much alcohol because they were bored. They were retired. So then you can go into substances and things too, because you just don't know how to feel the day because it seems so empty.
I am very about the purpose of my coaching business, and it keeps me busy. It keeps me alive. It keeps me passionate. So
it's beautiful. So what part of your personal system that shifted first when you started into flow, when you got into flow? Like internal systems. What was the system that shifted?
Yeah. I guess, my mind, my body, I started breathing, and then that ritual of washing my hands. I had a 40-minute drive to and from work, and I started doing breathing exercises and actually saying positive affirmations on my way into work, and then breathing exercises and listening to music on my way home to kind of just debrief, leave the day behind. So I would say, my body, my pulse was raised, my blood pressure was crazy out of control. I had to go on medication. And so when I started some of these rituals and I really realized that my thoughts, do control some of my body's reactions, and I was able to get that under control, my body settled down, and then that helped.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about, talking to your brain, because you had a lot of negative talks. That was what was spiraling your negativity in the work and all of that. So how did that shift after learning about flow and talking to your brain? How did that shift?
Yeah. So I named my brain Miss Thang, and, I would have to talk to her. And interestingly enough, sometimes, she needed to be yelled at. Sometimes I needed to be gentle with her, depending on what those thoughts were. But I literally would be like, all right, Miss Thang, you've done enough. I need to do this. And, none of this negative. So it literally was a conversation that, I started having with myself that happens on a regular basis, to keep those voices at bay. They don't ever disappear. But they come fewer and farther between when you have positive affirmations. And one of the things I do is journal, and I journal what I'm grateful for, and I journal a positive affirmation every day. And so when you start building those networks, those neural networks of the positive, the negative aren't as strong.
They start diminishing. And you learn to catch them too, right? When they come, you're like, oh yeah, I hear you. I remember you. I know what you're going to tell me. I already know what you're going to tell me.
Absolutely.
I heard it many times, so I know why you're coming in right now. So those thoughts don't go away. That's really important, right? It doesn't go away. It just gets diminished, and it just, you're able to catch it like this. Yeah. And then you go, okay, I get it. I know what you're going to do. So that was the awareness. You started becoming aware of how much negativity is going on,
Right.
And then it was fueled by the environment and the situation at home, but started when you were young and carried it forward. And then now finally, you're now able to be in flow. But we should have had that all along, like all of us. We suffer. And then it was always within us, but we were never taught to find it.
Yes. When I learned the Blocks to Flow method, I'm like, where was this when I was a teenager or a middle schooler, a teenager? And where was it for my kids, as well?
Absolutely. So what was the hardest pattern to break or a belief to unlearn when you moved through to flow, from blocks to flow?
Well, I'm still working on it, but my number one thing that I continue to work on to try to unlearn is that I'm a fixer and everything needs to be fixed and I need to be the one to do it. So I, have lived my life proudly declaring that I'm a caretaker and I'm a fixer. But there are many things in life that just can't be fixed. You miss paying a bill, you can fix that by paying the bill, but humans can't be fixed. So, trying to I can't fix my daughter's illness. And that was a struggle for me, but changing my mindset and realizing that her illness isn't to be fixed, it's to be managed. And, it's to find the workarounds so that she can have a productive and healthy life. So it's about fixing. I continue to struggle because it's my go-to, right? For 56 years, 55 years, I've prided myself on being a fixer, but not everything in life should be fixed.
Yeah. So where did that come from? If we go back.
Generationally, I think it's generational because my mom was a fixer, and my brother is a fixer, and both my children are fixers. So it's almost generational, right? Like there's something about us that we see someone who is struggling, and we naturally just gravitate to those that are struggling to try to relieve their suffering.
And that has made you into a beautiful person and a beautiful coach.
Yeah.
That's where your compassion comes in. It actually gives you so much quality from that. You cannot do it in certain situations. It's where you can apply yourself and feel bad about it that I couldn't help.
Right.
There are some things, yes, that comes from parent. Yeah, some of them are passed to us, right?
Yes.
So how does alignment feel in your body now compared to when you were in that survival mode?
So it's like night and day. I was in high stress. I needed meds for my blood pressure. I'm actually off one of my blood pressure meds and we're working my way off the other one. Awesome. So, being in this environment and being in the flow and alignment has adjusted my body to the point where, sometimes my blood pressure goes too low because of the medication, right? Because I'm feeling aligned in my systems and, safe in my emotions. And so, it's like night and day because I was just constantly in this state of heightened, ready to fight. And, now I'm just flowing along.
Yes. So if somebody's listening to us right now, what is one ritual that you're doing right now if they're in a situation like yourself, right? Where it's a bully at a work. Yes. Sometimes it's, higher, somebody who has a higher position. Sometimes it's not. It's just somebody that you co-work with, right?
Right.
So in a situation like that, you can't escape because you need money. You need to go to work. You need to find another job, which is sometimes not possible. So you just put up with it. Mm-hmm. You say, it's another year, another day, another month. I'll handle it. But your body starts signaling you all over places, like you, for example, like blood pressure.
Yeah.
All of this is happening, and then we just keep going because, of course, we need the money. We can't just say, I'm quitting. It's not possible. Right. We need to pay bills. So what is one ritual that you're doing? If you think about what one ritual they can do right now in that environment to help them.
Yeah. I mean, I would say tune into your body. Take a moment, be still, see where you're holding tension, see where you have discomfort, and then do some breathing. Because you can take, like you said earlier, you can take it anywhere. You can go into the bathroom and shut the door and you can breathe. You can do a body scan and you can breathe. And you, generally speaking, with that breath comes, a feeling of calm. And then you can, in that moment, shift your thought.
Yes, absolutely. Talk to your brain. Very good to talk to your brain. And also notice if it's a trigger from your past that this person or this environment is triggering. Because it could be that it's not necessarily the person. Maybe you already had an experience that you never dealt with, and that person is that person triggering it. And now you have a conflict with that person and you don't know how to react to them. By becoming aware of that, just about that, you're going to have less conflict with them now. You're going to start internally researching.
Yeah.
Where did I get it? How did I get it? Okay, how can I deal with this person in a different way? Awareness is so powerful, right? Because sometimes when we're in a situation like that, we're always projecting outward, but in a place like that, you need to go inward. And then you need to find strength from inside to say, you know what? Your comments don't bother me. What you think is none of my business.
Right.
Am I doing what I need to do? Yes. Do you have a problem with that? Let's talk about it. Where's the exact problem? Then you get this clarity and this confidence because you are not triggered. But when you're triggered with your old, blocks, you're going to be reactive. Everybody's reactive. I'm reactive too when I get triggered, right? Yeah. So that's why I always say go inward. And then that ritual you did before you left the school. So if you have a place where you feel like at the end of the day, I can't go into my environment, home, or to my children, or to my wife, or a husband, or partner. And if you want to wash your hands, even change your clothes. Yeah, right? Just let it go.
When you initially told me that, I was like, okay, I'll do it, but that's ridiculous. How could that possibly help? But it actually does. Like, I would wash my hands. I'm washing away the day. And it was crazy. Like, how could such a simple routine, impact your mindset? But it does.
Yeah. And the water has properties to cleanse too, right? Calm us. That's why when you take shower on your back and stuff, it actually soothing and calming for your nervous system. So that if you were, triggered in that environment already by washing and taking a shower, even at home, will actually definitely shift you out of it, right? If your younger self could witness you now, what would they notice first?
They would notice the calm that kind of exudes me and my space. Because I've always been a pretty amped up individual. And I can get amped up when I'm passionate and, when I'm doing things I love, but, just not being in that fight or flight. It's crazy that I spent the vast majority of my life, in fight or flight as I look back. And so I think my younger self would be like, how do I do that? Like, how do I get there and sooner?
For our listeners, if you could give them one simple action that they could take to get themselves closer to their alignment and into flow, what would you offer them?
I would say, it's a toss-up between breathing and body scan and talk to your brain. Because I think, one of my coaching clients really struggles with negative thought processes and talk to your brain is really the thing that has been helping, because it does bring that awareness, as you mentioned. And so when he comes back to his coaching sessions the next week, he's like, I had this thought and I was aware that that's what it was. It was just a thought and it wasn't real. And, so I think probably talk to your brain, just name your brain and talk to it. Recognize those thoughts that, aren't real. They're based on something from your past.
So let's go into one of them so we can model it. How this is done, because it seems like, okay, talk to my brain. How do I do that? If you've never done it, it's like, it's a question, right? Like, how do I do it? So when you were in that work environment, because we're talking about that right now, that was your block, right? What was something that you negatively told yourself repeatedly in that environment before you knew about it?
I think that what I was saying is, you're not good enough. You're not getting all your work done. You have to be faster. You have to be better. So it was all related to not being a good performer. Okay.
And was that coming from the administrator or somebody you were working with? They were
I was getting some feedback. Yes, I was getting some feedback for that. One of the challenges at most works, I think a lot of people can relate to this, is the better you are at your job, the more you end up with more to do.
Yes. Just so you're so efficient. Let me give you more. They can only push the efficient system, right? If you go push the inefficient system, it's not going to go anywhere. But if you're so efficient, they add more.
You get more work. Right. You get other people's work.
And then go faster. Right.
Yeah. Right. And so, it got to a point where I don't know that my job was a doable job. And now that I know there's a new person in it, they've had to take a number of the responsibilities away and give them to somebody else. And so I think I was put in a situation where, it wasn't a doable thing. And yet me being who I am, I have to do good at my job. And so I was trying. And so there
And you're a fixer.
Yes, because I'm a fixer. So I think there was potentially a little bit of truth to the fact that I wasn't, but it just it spiraled those thought processes that, back from my childhood, that you're not good enough. And, so.
But have you ever thought about that you are doing so much, they're just adding more? Did that come at that time, or is that something you had it after?
It's hindsight, right? Hindsight is like, especially when I heard that, I recently heard, like I said, that the person that replaced me, doesn't have to do all of the things I had to do.
Yes.
It wasn't in the moment. I didn't really know it in the moment.
So you set yourself so high and then you achieved that, but you didn't even recognize you're achieving. Then the other people did.
Right.
Superior to you, they did. And then they're like, this is a really efficient person. Let me add another. Then you keep pushing your bar up because, you're a fixer. I mean, I got to fix all of the rest of the stuff and then the rest of the stuff and the rest of the stuff. Yeah. And then time came, you're like, this is too much. I mean, I don't think I can keep up. You're already working at your full capacity. Overcapacity now.
Overcapacity.
Yeah, overcapacity. So at that time, that real block was that your self-worth was tied to, I need to keep fixing to be the person, the Kim she is.
Yeah.
And they noticed it. They figured it out.
Yeah.
They figured out who you are and they played it.
Yeah,
so
yes, they did.
That's pretty cool. So what could we talk at that moment is, like, sometimes that's why I say awareness is first. You got to first be aware that this is the game we're playing. The administrators or whoever, right? I am a fixer. I love to raise my bar up so I can keep going. I can over my capacity, exceed my capacity. And they know that they're playing this game. When we know that, we can say, now what's my game? And then that's how you start talking to your brain, right?
Right.
So detachment from self-worth is equal to my output.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Self-worth is not equal to my output. It doesn't matter how much I output. I'm still a Kim. I'm still Kohila, right? But then it comes from our education system where performance was rewarded.
Absolutely.
Everything was required. Everything perfect was perfect.
Yes. And that is absolutely how I was. I was the student that strived to get the best grade in the class. So now here I am at work and I'm striving to be the best worker and get the most done. And
yeah. So that turns into perfectionism too, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So what is a conversation a person can have right now is first aware. Why is that happening? When you're aware, you can then say, okay, I am associating this to this. So let me talk to my brain about calmly, like, I'm not doing this. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Whatever you're telling the brain is telling you, right? Whatever it is, it depends on how it comes out because the block has to be discovered where it started. And then from there, you can come back. But the first is awareness. That's the number one thing. And then you can start using whatever your brain is saying too many times in a day is a good place to start. Like I used to say I'm stupid immediately for anything. If somebody says, can you do this? I'll be like, no, I don't think so. I'm stupid. It was so easy to say it because I said it so many times in my head and out loud. It became like a little phrase like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm kind of stupid. I don't think so. Then it took me and not until in my 30s, I used that so much, so much. Like it was constant.
Yeah.
Without thinking, it was dropping. So whatever you're thinking, whatever your word choices are, I would look into that and that will help you to become aware. The first step is aware and then start rephrasing into what you want to happen, right? And that's what people say about manifesting. The gratitude in manifesting is whatever you think is whatever you're going to receive, right? If you keep thinking negatively, negative is going to come to you. If you start thinking positively, the workplace might even change. Maybe the person might even leave.
And she's
not a tragedy. You never do. They might find another place.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But you left though before they.
I left first. Yes, I ever.
Yes.
But
Awesome.
all the people that were left are safe now.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you for sharing, Kim. And then if people want to connect with you, I know you offer coaching for adults, students. how can they connect with you?
So I have a website, so they can always go on my website. It's guidingmindslearningsolutions.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So they can connect with me in any of those ways. And yeah.
And I will have all of Kim's information in the show notes as well, all her links. You can connect with her. So finish the sentence for me, Kim. Flow is?
Flow is the harmony between your body and your mind, and your environment.
Harmony. Beautiful. Thank you. So harmony between, say it again, one more time.
Flow is the harmony between your body, your mind, and your environment.
Thank you. One word that describes you when you're in full flow.
Productive.
Love it. Another word jumped out as you took that deep breath.
Yeah.
I think grounded. It just popped up. Yeah, but productivity is good because you said you can now spend 5 hours in flow and get things done. And that 5 hours doesn't feel like 5 hours, right?
It doesn't. It
feels so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're in flow.
Right.
Awesome.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. One practice that instantly helps you when you return to alignment.
I think journaling.
So journaling, how long should a person do that? Like half hour, 10 minutes, or just whatever you feel like?
I think it depends on the person, and it depends on, you know what, I'm not a free-flowing journaler. So I have a set of questions or prompts. I have my, I am grateful for, my daily affirmation, my what would make today great. So like what things could happen that would make my day great. And then my daily intention, like what intention am I setting? So, and then at the end of the day, I journal that back and reflect on the day. And so that helps because I'm not a free-flowing journaler.
Yeah. That's something you have to sometimes come up with, right? Yeah. Prompts.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's one truth you wish everyone knew about learning, living, and leading in flow?
Know your nervous system. Know your nervous system, because if it's dysregulated, you can't find flow.
How do I know it's dysregulated? So I'm just being...
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I mean, that's where the body scan comes in, right? Like you have to check and see what's going on in your body, listen to your brain, and do grounding practices to get yourself in regulation.
But how would I know though? I would know by how I'm reacting with people, right? How I'm interacting. Like if my nervous system is off, I'm going to be off in my environment. Interactions with my environment are going to be off. And then my sleep will be off. My sleep is going to be affected. My eating will be affected. My hormones are all over the place, which is what happened to me last year. So you will know, like you'll have signs. You're going to feel it. And other people will also notice around you that you're fatigued, you're agitated, you know, your nervous system, you're just not patient with yourself, even not forget the other people, but even with yourself. And there's always this anxiety that's living, like there's something like you can't rest. And that's what's happening to many, many, many people right now is this unrooted feeling, like I'm floating. There's never a feeling like, okay, I can settle.
Right. Right. It's like you're waiting for the next thing. You're waiting for the next.
So what's your biggest, evolution? What's your biggest evolution with becoming a Blocks to Flow coach?
I think it's in listening and seeing, to the body and to the signals that another person is giving off. Not necessarily their words, but the signal. You know, I have a little guy that I'm coaching now, and he has a language disorder, and so speech is not his primary way of communication, right? It's behavior, it's through his body language and that kind of thing. And through the process with him, I have learned that there's so much communication going on through body language and facial expressions. And I never would have spent that much time paying attention to other people before Blocks to Flow.
Yeah, absolutely. We miss so much communication from other people, right? And then as a teacher and a special educator yourself now, you look at coaching from a different angle. It's not teaching, it's not tutoring, it's a different angle. Can you share about that?
Yeah. So coaching for me now is all about the student becoming aware of their systems, becoming aware of their nervous system, becoming aware of whether they're regulated or not. And then the learning naturally happens. So like when I'm coaching, I'm not spending time teaching content. I'm spending time regulating the body, taking breaths. And, you know, my little guy went from my first few sessions being not even 30 minutes to being able to sustain attention to task for 45 to 50 and even 60 minutes. And so that, you know, in order to be functional in school, being able to sustain attention for that length of time, is going to do wonders for his ability to learn. So my job as a coach isn't necessarily to teach him the content so much as it's to get his body learning ready so that then the learning can happen.
You're doing all the prerequisites to his learning.
Prerequisites to learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to tell the listeners and viewers?
No, I think that's everything. I think you asked some really great questions and you got to know me.
So if you could give every parent or a learner one message, if you could give every parent and a learner one message, what would it be?
I think it would be listen to your body and breathe. Because I know many times parents and kids, you know, get into that power struggle, and a dysregulated parent can never regulate a child. So we have to pay attention to our own space and our own selves.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you
so much. Yes.
Appreciate it.
Everyone listening, have a blessed day. Keep breathing, keep grounding yourself, and talk to your brain.
Talk to your brain.
Actually works. First awareness, then talk to your brain. Right?
It's
talk to your brain. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Blocks to Flow, where learning, living, and leading return to alignment. Keep reconnecting. Keep restoring. Keep rewiring your way back to rhythm. Discover more at holisticsuccesscodes.com and join the movement reshaping how we learn, live, and lead. Until next time, flow forward.